Hello everybody, it's Lotus Moon. It's time for the next chapter of Fireteam Odium. Now, I know some of you might be laughing at me for all my mistakes, but once again, I thank you for your patience with me. It's going to be a long journey, so of course I might still be apologizing for my mistakes, but as long as people love this reading, I can continue and stay strong despite all the slip-ups. Anyway, I'm going to now bring you Chapter 10 to Fireteam Odium. Please enjoy. Fireteam Odium, written by Atranos the Last. Chapter 10, Answers. Curvis jumped into the pilot seat of the Vienna and slammed forward on his ship, undocking from the carrier and flying towards the ground. They had managed to get to the ship fairly easily after the fight in the hangar, and the Titan was surprised to find that the other Cabal ships hadn't given chase. Callus slumped against the wall. She remained quiet since the fight, likely still drained from the teleport. Exodus had followed her, tending to whatever injuries remained and making small talk with her. The pony that had gone with Callus stayed at the back of the ship, his eyes darting over the three guardians. What was that back there? Since when have the Cabal been able to speak our language? Callus asked. With how long they've been studying us, it's no surprise that they have learned a great deal about us. Exodus explained. What matters right now is we got both of you out of there alive. How many are following us? Curvis gave another look on the radar, though he already knew the answer. None. That ball was telling the truth. So they say we can leave, then attack us, but still keep their word? I don't have the patience for all this. Exodus gave a chuckle at that. Just try to keep your mind clear. I fixed the injuries I could, but it will take time for your light to regenerate. Just stick close to me. I have some spare that I can give. Callus gave a thankful nod to the warlock and removed her helmet, revealing her gray metallic skin and white eyes. Cobalt's eyes widened slightly at that, but he didn't say anything. As the two passengers continued to talk, Curvis slowed the ship down. They were a sufficient distance from the carrier fleet for them to be considered safe. So, he saw no reason to fly that fast. Looking over at a smaller monitor, he switched the ship to autopilot and sat back, sighing. The guardians behind him took notice of his new posture, and the hunter spoke as they turned to face him. Curvis? The Titan turned his head in response. Are you okay? Yeah, just tired. I'm fine though. Callus gave Exodus a look before going on. Did you need some time? I'm fine, really. You guys go on with your conversation, Curvis said, quieter than before. The hunter shrugged at Exodus and looked away, the warlock doing the same. What's gotten into him? You have to remember that he is a human. Give him some time to rest, and he'll be back up before you know it, Exodus replied in a whisper of his own. The rest of the flight was fairly quiet, none of the passengers finding anything to say after the conversation. It took the ship about half an hour at the speed they had been reduced to in order to reach the camp. A few guards leaving the camp to stand beside the pre-selected landing zone. As they drew closer, they could see ponies from the carrier also joining the guards to watch the ship as the ship came in to land. Ghost, Curvis said. Teleport us down there when we're in range. When we are all on the ground, move the ship up into orbit. His ghost gave a nod in response and made himself invisible, the other two ghosts doing the same. While the ship prepared for landing and then orbiting, the Guardians got up and put on their armor, on any armor they removed during their time on board the craft. Cobalt had gone to sleep sometime during the flight and was waking himself up as his companions rose. "We are in range," Curvis's ghost commented. "Teleporting now." The four beings were shrouded in light at that, quickly shifting down to below the Vienna. When they had departed, the ship fired its engines and took off, moving back into orbit to await its pilot once more. When a trio of guardians were spotted, various cheers were shouted by the ponies they had saved from the Cabal. The guards kept them back, but two ponies were allowed to enter the landing area, a blue Pegasus with a yellow Earth pony. "Exodus!" the blue colt cried when he saw them, galloping over to the Warlock. "Hey, Breeze, you miss us?" Exodus said happily, petting the little pony's head. "Miss you? I was so worried you were gonna get hurt. You okay?" "Yeah, we're fine, little one." Callus took some damage, but me and Curvis got out with nothing but some scratches. Breeze sighed in relief at that and bumped the Exo's leg with a huff. "Well, I'm just glad you guys are alright." While they continued talking, Lemon trotted over to Curvis. A smile on her face was clear as she looked up at the Titan. "Hey again." "Hey," Curvis said with a smile of his own, though she couldn't see it past his helmet. He knelt down to match her level. "Were you guys okay while we were gone?" "Yeah, I went to check on Chrome, and he woke up while you were fighting. I think he's mad that he didn't get to join you three." The human chuckled at that. "Well, he's going to be even more mad when he finds out what went down there." Callus was hurt up there?" she questioned, looking over at the hunter. The Exo was watching Exodus as he spoke with Breeze. "Yeah. She's fine now after Exodus patched her up." "Are you sure that neither you or Exodus were hurt as well?" she asked skeptically. "Trust me, we're both fine. Come on, we need to get back to the tent." The Titan stood to his normal height once more and looked over at the other members of his team. They turned to him as well as he stood, both standing tall when they realized what Curvis wanted to do. "Let's go, guys. We have some intel to look through." The Vogue walked slowly behind his Primus, flanked by a few soldiers. His mind raced with thoughts of what his leader may do to him. Execute him? Derank him? The simple ideas left his head clouded, so much so that he walked into the back of the Primus. He brought his attention to his environment to find the huge Cabal standing beside the door that led to his quarters. "Go in, soldier. You too," he said, directing the last two to the two legionaries that remained with them. "Stay out here. I'll contact you when necessary." The Cabal soldiers moved to stand beside the doorway as the Primus entered its chamber, the Vogue following and taking in his surroundings. The room was fairly spacious, but not much more than to be expected within a Cabal carrier. There was little furnishing to clutter the space, the only objects there being a table and a few chairs. A few trophy cabinets lined the wall, displaying the various things gathered from previous missions involving the Primus. "Please, be seated. I don't want this to be any longer than it needs to be." The Cabal leader sighed as he took the largest seat that lay at the head of the table. The Vogue did as he was told, sitting upon one of the smaller seats. They were all made of an incredibly durable alloy created by the flares within the Empire. It was easily capable of supporting the huge weight that came with each Cabal soldier. When seated, Laval looked over to his leader, awaiting a decision from him. Before speaking, the Primus leaned forward and pressed a few buttons on a console embedded into the table. When his hand retracted, an audible hiss could be heard throughout the room. As the sound diminished, he removed his helmet. The atmosphere is breathable here. You may take off your helmet, he said to Laval. The soldier continued to do as he was told and removed the armor that covered his head. Sweet, breathable air filled his lungs as he took his first unfiltered breath in hours. I assume you know why I wanted to speak with you? The Primus asked, looking back. Yes, Primus, Call me by my name, the Vogue. The Primus interrupted. We are not in company. I thought we'd gotten past this months ago. My apologies, Val. I would like to ask one thing before you pass your judgment. And what would this thing be? Val asked. I ask that you do nothing to my family. Do what you wish to me, but please leave my loved ones be. That can be allowed, the Vogue. I had no intentions of harming you or your family after what happened. Laval's attention was fully taken by that. He had thought that his punishment would have involved execution, with him disobeying orders. You disobeyed your orders and nearly destroyed the plan we had created, but you have been an invaluable asset to our armies. I would prefer to ignore this, but I must set an example, the Primus explained. I understand. I will take the punishment you give without question. I have asked too much of you already. Vaal nodded before continuing. It pains me to give this verdict, but the lesser soldiers must know not to step out of line. You are hereby banished from this legion. You may not return to the Empire, nor may you contact any of the other carriers. Naval sighed. The Vol sighed, but said nothing. While the decision was difficult to take, he was intelligent enough to count his blessings. It could, after all, be far worse than a simple exile. I will allow you to keep your shockwave generator, as well as a couple of your personal guard. I will call for a heavy transport to take you from the carrier down to the surface. This is all I can provide for you, my friend. I wish you luck down there. Thank you, Valal. And I wish you luck in your plans. If you do return home, tell my wife I love her. The Primus stood at that and walked over to the Val's side, putting a hand on his shoulder. Of course. Now we should get moving. The atmosphere can't stay like this forever. There were quite a few ponies in the tent before they closed it off. Both of the princesses sat at the end of the large table that dominated the center of the tent, while the chairs to the left and right of it were filled with the lower ranking ponies. All 6 of the ponies that had stayed with the Solar Princess were there, along with a drowsy chrome shield. He had only managed to arrive after receiving multiple checks before being allowed to leave. Cobalt sat beside him, giving an occasional nudge to keep him focused. On the other side of the table, a few high-ranking army ponies sat, along with the war mage leader. She was dressed in a black and gold robe that sparkled in the candlelight. Lastly, Breeze and Lemon sat at the corner of the tent, content with simply listening to the meeting. So, did you 3 manage to get the information you needed? The Lunar Princess asked, an eyebrow raised. We did, Exodus confirmed, and we are more than willing to show it to all of you. Then please, do so. Exodus turned and gave a nod to Khaleesi's ghost. The machine displayed a wall of undecipherable text upon the wood table. "What is this?" the war mage asked, leaning forward. "This is all the information that was available to take within the database. It is written in the Cabal's native language, which is difficult to translate. But I will do my best," Khaleesi's ghost said, his segment spinning while he worked on making the text readable. After a minute of waiting, the rainbow-haired pony was visibly becoming impatient. Thankfully, however, the ghost piped up before she could say anything. "I have done what I can. Much of this is unusable thanks to not knowing enough of it to be being translated. But some of it should be legible." As he spoke, certain chunks of text disappeared, replaced with broken English that could be worked into complete sentences. While they read, the ghost began to document what had been translated, managing to store the text within their own database as unbroken sentences. "Incoming message from the Emperor. Begin message playback. Vaal, your actions in that battle were uncalled for. Many Cabal warships were lost because of your unruly actions, and I cannot accept this. You will be given a single hour to leave our system before we hunt you down. You better hope those engines work." Message playback ends. Message conversation between Primus Vaal and Valtharog. Begin message playback. The Val, you wish to ask me something? I did, Vaal. I have reason to believe that we have been exiled and you have been lying to us. Please, friend, tell me this is not true. I cannot lie to you. Yes, I lied about the circumstances of our mission, but I had good reason to do so. We have been exiled, but I have a plan to get us home. Oh? I think that if we gather enough technology, the Emperor will allow us back into the Legion. No message sent for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Are you going to tell the rest about this? No. I do not want to start a panic. I ask that you also keep it secret, not as a command, but as a request. If this is to work, we need every Cabal working together, and panic is not going to allow this. I see. I will keep quiet for now, but please do not keep lying to your army. They will need to know in time. Of course, Davog, you have my word. Message playback ends. Message from Primus Vaal to all consuls. Begin message playback. As you all know, we are not going to be able to return anytime soon. The Empire has ordered us to find more usable technology for our armies. The planet we are headed to has had the flares in a real state, as the energy radiating off of it is like nothing they have ever seen. We are going to find this energy, harvest it, and turn it into something we can use. When this is accomplished, we can return home. Message playback ends. That was it? Callus asked when she had read the final message. And this is more than we need, Callus. Exodus stated. These 3 messages provide all that we need to know. While it is odd that all there was on the console was messages, we have to take what we can get. They were exiled, but why are they trying to get back? Surely their leaders wouldn't want to see them. The Blue Princess said, confused. It may be loyalty, or it may be that they have something back there that they want to get back to. Either way, we know why they captured all those ponies, Exodus explained. I dread to think of what the prisoners would have had to go through should we have left them there. Let's try not to think about that and focus more on what we need to do to stop them outright, Curvis said. At this, the White Princess spoke up. They have declared war against us, and so we shall retaliate. Those ponies of Equestria stand by your side. The ponies of Equestria stand by your side. Perhaps with this alliance, we can push these monsters back to where they came from. We thank you, Princess. I certainly hope that the outcome is that simple, Exodus said, looking down once more at the wooden table. So what is our first move? The Blue Princess asked. First step of war? Gather allies. The Cabal heavy transport juddered with the force of the engines as it flew through the skies. On board, a Val and a small squad of Cabal soldiers sat, awaiting their first stop. None of them spoke, each of them accepting the fact that they wouldn't be able to go home. As the craft came close to the ground, the Val stood tall and turned to address the team of soldiers. Cabal, I wish to speak with you now before we land. Each of the Cabal turned to face the Rog as he spoke, their attention solely upon him. I am aware you all chose to be here with me, and for that I thank you. You have come to assist me in my time of need, and I in turn wish to offer a promise. If any of you are in trouble or are in need of assistance, come to me. I will do my best to protect you all through this. You have my word. The soldiers mostly nodded in thanks, some giving thankful grunts. None of them needed to speak, as they had said their part aboard the carrier. They were in it for the long haul now. 20 seconds to green light, the pilot called out through the intercom, giving the passengers time to prepare. They all stood and walked to the back of the transport, a large door opening to give them a view of the planet's hills. Green light, you are clear to depart. The Val gave one more grunt before jumping from the door, and the others following closely. The ship was around 300 feet in the air, just below the height the Cabal armor needed to resist. The Cabal armor made to resist. And each soldier was equipped with a jump pack, helping to steer and slow the velocity that wouldn't injure them when they had landed. As they hit the ground, plumes of dirt and dust flew around them, the Vogue especially, creating a sort of smokescreen around them. Is everyone okay? The Vol asked when the dust cleared, giving him a clear view of the other Cabal that dropped. None of them seemed injured, though a couple of soldiers overheated their packs. This wasn't a major thing right now, but should they need to use them before they fully cooled off, they may have found some issues. Where now, sir? A centurion asked, walking up to the Vogue. I'm unsure. We need to find somewhere that we can use as shelter, though I'm unfamiliar with this area, the boss said, looking around him. Sir, if I may, a legionary asked, walking alongside the centurion. Go ahead, soldier. I'm listening. While we were dropping, I noticed a cluster of homes some distance from here. Maybe we can head there. It would depend. I do not wish for more bloodshed after my actions, and for that reason, if the inhabitants there go against us, I refuse to even consider attacking them, the Vogue said, looking down to the soldier. Understood, sir. I think I have enough landmarks here to point us in the right direction. Should we start moving? Yes. Less. The sooner we find somewhere to call home, the better. And so, with your permission, we would like to assist you. The War Mage's leader finished, taking her seat once more. I see no reason to turn down that help. How many ponies do you have? Exodus asked. Hundreds, and many more in training. While the princesses did not know until now, we have been working to increase our population in preparation for something like this. Exodus gave a glance to the princesses, smiling at their shocked expressions, before turning back to the war mage. That is more than we need. I assume you keep these ponies far away from here? He asked. We do. We have a home within the hills nearby the Crystal Empire. You three are more than welcome to come back with me and view the mages we have available. Forgive me, but I don't know much about the area around the city nearby. How far is that? Before the war mage could respond to Exodus, Calla spoke up. About 400 miles, give or take. If she's speaking about the hills, I am thinking of them. It should be easy to reach with our ships. Curvis looked at Callus surprised. And how do you know that? Unlike you two, apparently, I wouldn't have found a map as soon as I could. My ghost has a detailed view of most, if not all, of its contents. As a matter of fact, I have an overview of the entire planet, but that's besides the point. Exodus commented, standing fully. We can transport you and your war mages back to your home. It would be much faster if we took you back, and it would avoid any cabal that may see us. I can agree with that. Will you be able to move all of us? We have many mages here, and I wouldn't want to leave them behind. We can do our best. Taking multiple trips may be an option in the end, but we will get all of your ponies home safe, Exodus confirmed. The maid smiled at that and nodded, rising from her seat and moving to leave the tent. Come find me when you are ready. We will be ready to move when you are, she said as she passed the entrance to the tent. When she had moved away, Exodus turned back to the princesses. What will you do now? He asked. The white princess responded before the blue one could even open her mouth. We are going to return to Canterlot with the survivors. When we arrive, we will await your return. No promises on being quick, but hopefully we will have reinforcements by then. She also nodded and stood, her sister rising with her. I wish you luck in your travels, Guardian. Come back safely, she said with a smile. The same to you, Princess, Exodus replied, turning to walk out of the tent. The other Guardians followed closely, each of them calling to their ships, for their ships to return to the surface. Outside the town of Despectus, a small group of young ponies ran from each other in a game of tag. Their teachings had finished for the day, and so they had been given permission to leave the boundaries of the town to play. You can't catch me, one called, squealing as the colt she was running from had nearly tagged her with his hoof. Yes, I can, he called out in response, moving to give chase once more. The chase continued for some time, though a few of the fillies and colts broke away to play other games. For over an hour, the air was filled with the sounds of foals playing, as each one involved themselves in the games their friends were playing. After a long while, the fun was cut out by a noise. Each of them turned to see a colt running over a hill towards them, screaming at the top of his lungs. As he got closer, they began making out what he was saying. Monsters! The monsters are coming! He called, running straight past the other foals that had completely stopped to watch. One of the older children quickly came to his senses and followed the colt, galloping for all his might to reach the village hall. As he passed by various houses, he could hear shouts coming from them. It seemed that the colt's cries had stirred the village into motion. When he arrived at the village hall, he ran right up to the war mage standing guard there. Please, sir, let me in. I need to speak with the elders. Sure, kid. Go ahead, he said to the cult, a surprised look on his face as he pushed the door open. Thank you. He tried to pass the doorway into the main hall, looking up to see the 4 elders sitting at their pedestals. What brings you here, young one? Elder Shine asked with a smile. One of the cults from my class just ran by us screaming about monsters. I think the ones from Manhattan might be coming for us. Shine's smile dropped instantly. She gave a sharp look at the other elders. They all had looks of worry etched into their faces as Elder Shine turned once more to face the cult. Are you sure? You didn't mishear? I'm completely certain. I know what I heard, and he has never done something like this before. I see. Thank you for coming to us. We will handle it from here. The cult gave a nod and ran from the building, hoping to find his parents and tell them the news. When he had left, Elder Shine slumped back, her mind trying to process what was happening. Another elder coughed, bringing her attention back to the situation. We need to assemble the defense force. Get everyone back into their homes if they are unable to fight. Those that can need to guard the outskirts of the town. If even one of them makes it through, we may lose everything. The others gave words on confirmation and began moving to assemble the mages that were stationed throughout the town, leaving Shine to think over what they would have to do. My liege, return soon, she whispered, getting down from her own pedestal and walking out of the room. Sir, we are approaching the cluster of homes, the legionary stated as they crested yet another hill. The Vogue looked over to where the soldier was pointing to see a reasonable-sized town, though commotion could be seen in the streets of it. After a few moments, a huge multicolored dome rose up from the middle, covering the town in its entirety. Guardians? A legionary asked. No. Not even the greatest guardians were capable of something like that. It is likely that the inhabitants of the town noticed our approach and have taken us as a threat, the Vogue stated. His eyes crossed over the moving patterns that made up the wall. What are your orders, sir? Do we attack? I wish to speak with them. There is no reason for us to create enemies now, and having allies that could benefit us greatly. As you wish, sir. And so, the team of Cabal began moving towards the dome, their weapons at the ready. The Vogue silently prayed that they wouldn't take their movements as a sign of attack. He despised the thought of more unnecessary death. As they drew closer, a mass of ponies left the shield to stand in defense. The few remaining ponies that were not there for combat fleeing into the shield behind them. Hold fire, soldiers. If they attack us, fight to injure, not kill, the Vogue commanded, his troops grunting in confirmation. Raising his voice, he called out to the ponies. We do not wish to fight. Please hear us out before you attack. The ponies looked at each other in confusion, none of them moving from their positions. After what felt like forever, a single pony moved out of the group and approached them. A few of the legionaries clicked off their safeties in preparation for a fight, but they did not move to attack the new pony. As it reached earshot of the Cabal, it stopped and stood still. You wish to speak? Then speak. We are willing to listen. And that was Chapter 10 to Fireteam Odium. Alright, everybody, so yes, I made a lot of mistakes. And I want to go back to when I started out reading this story. Most of you asked, why don't I edit out all of the annoying background noise and all of my mistakes? Well, I believe I answered the question, but I just want to reiterate. For the background noise, I've tried, but I can't find a tutorial successful enough for me to actually be able to edit it out. I really need to put pad foaming on my walls, and hopefully that should help a bit, but as my bedroom is close to the street, I can only hope and pray that the padded foam will help out with reducing the noise. Second to the noise, currently as of the day I am recording this, there is a baseball game going on, so there's a lot of traffic. As for my mistakes, I could edit them out, but really, I kind of just leave them in as entertainment for all of you. Because the way I see it, some people might be having a bad day, so me making mistakes during a reading might bring some fun and smiles back to you. So I really do it all for you, every pony. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the reading and look forward to the next chapter coming soon. I am Lotus Moon, and I want to wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night wherever you are, every pony. Good night.